Hello everyone, welcome to OWTV. My name's Commander X and I'm joined by probably quite a surprising guest for a lot of people, Gunba, who's made his return to Overwatch. Welcome back, Gunba. How are you? How have you been? It's been 2024, I think you left.
Yeah, I think early 2024 after like the first stage. It's been good. I mean, I think a lot of the things I said when I quit back then have come true, right? I mean, I think the average sort of OWCS experience, at least as a Westerner, I think it's a bit different if you're like a top Korean team, but you either work in an A, and this goes for players and coaches, I think, alike, but you either work in an A and you lose all the time and get paid shit, basically, or you work in Europe and you work for like a Saudi organization, and there are trade-offs there as well. They might try and pressure you to play like Saudi players, or some of the smaller ones, especially not so much like TM Falcons, but smaller orgs have had trouble like paying their players or paying out prize money. So, but you get to work with like Saudi players and European players who are just better, and that's kind of the trade. I think a lot of that has really come true in terms of the funding and stuff like that. So, yeah. I guess in hindsight, just to start off, happy with my decision to retire, but I decided to come back because honestly, I was like playing World of Warcraft in my spare time, and just finished a raid, and then Akai reached out to me and he's like, "Would you like to come back part-time?" And like nobody had actually offered me that before. I think I don't know why I didn't ask for it in hindsight, because I do love coaching Overwatch, even if I don't believe in it really so much. But the terms were good. The salary is pretty good. It's like 9 to 12 my time, so kind of midnight end time. Plus, I can extend. If obviously, EWC qualifier is a good example of something that would be worth extending for. So I'm doing that now, and just taking leave from work. But yeah, the opportunity kind of made sense, and yeah, so it's good to be back. I think I found like a really fortunate position. But yeah, I'll take it as it comes, I guess.
Yeah, I think a lot of the things you said originally were like lack of financial incentives, lack of support for the actual scene as well, and absurd hours. So maybe you've sort of ticked all the boxes. I guess you've still sort of created a 9 to 5 into nighttime job a little bit as well. So how have you found that sort of work-life balance now fitting in the Overwatch at the end of the day?
Yeah, it's only been a month. I mean, to be clear, I joined so I was talking to them before Saudi E-League. And then the team lost to GK, I think, in Saudi E-League. And I remember thinking, like, holy shit, I don't want to start with a team in this situation that, like, lost to GK and then lost to GK again. I'd rather start with a team that had, like, an upwards trend, I suppose. So I just messaged Akai. I'm like, do you want me to do VOD review with them, today, right? Like, literally on the day right before they played the grand final of Saudi E-League against GK. So they played GK again in the finals because they, went lower bracket. And went through the VODs with the players. I think I helped cause a lot. The Saudi flex DPS player that replaced Taejong for the roster requirements, and that helped a lot. I told them to play Cat Bastion. They completely ignored me and then won. So mixed bag, I guess. But yeah, that's when I started with them. In terms of like the work-life balance, as I kind of just insinuated, it's only been a month, so it's hard to judge, I guess. But it's also not something I'm like stuck doing if I don't want to do it too, right? I don't think I have that problem where like, if things don't go too well or, I don't enjoy it, I just don't have to do it, right? Like the contract doesn't really matter in that sense. In terms of, you can always retire kind of thing. They can't really stop you doing that unless they can extradite you to Saudi Arabia, so I think that's going to happen. So yeah, in that sense, I think little risk, and I can just kind of see how it goes, I suppose. But yeah, it's been fine. Obviously this week it's been a bit more, we're doing like basically an Overwatch League schedule in terms of, trying to qualify for EWC and all that stuff. So, but it's been really manageable, I think, so far.
Yeah, I guess it's nice to have that freedom that if it ever doesn't work with a team compared to if you were full-time, you sort of almost might be compelled to stay with the team.
I can just
you can always threat the doors right there, guys. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it already happened, right? We did tryouts for Majid, Gala, Zox, like so the 3 supports. We had to pick 2. Majid actually brought me back to the roster, which is a bit sad given that I benched him. But I mean, that's me. I try to make the decision that like makes the team win and not really worry about like relationships as much. But in terms of that, we did tryouts for that. We did tryouts for DPS. Actually, initially, Cause I think was better in the tryouts, and then we lost to like 1, 2, 3, 4. And we started questioning our existence. That maybe having someone who was like really like focused on Sim and Reaper probably wouldn't be scalable. Not sure if that was true or not. I still think Cause is like a really good player, obviously. But just on the Margib point, even when I we did the tryouts, we get to the end, I try and bench him kind of thing, and then suddenly the pretense of a tryout started to get questioned a bit, and it was like, hey, the org actually wants you to play Margib, and I'm like, well, you can find someone else, So in the end, I got my way on that one, and thank God I did. Right? I mean, Gala's been doing incredibly well. Really happy with his performance, regardless of what the many Arabic fans on Twitter keep saying about him. But he doesn't read Arabic, so I think he's probably fine. But yeah, honestly, otherwise it's been smooth sailing. Other than like that initial moment, I think you have to like set the tone a little bit. So yeah, now kind of optimistic, I think, about our chances to qualify for EWC. Really good roster. Really happy with Zox as well. Like Zox is fucking really great, to be honest. He calls so much in game, and really surprising player. Didn't really expect him to be good or whatever. So really happy with him. But yeah, smooth sailing so far for sure.
Did you sign Zox because he joined after you? I think.
No.
Or was he already on? Or was he already on like, the Saudi League
basically
version?
all the roster decisions,
Okay.
Including like Zox. We have like a young Saudi tank who probably will play like next year. I'm not sure on that sort of thing. I'm not really thinking on that timescale, but he's really good. Yeah, so yeah, I think he's made some good pickups, to be honest, and we've been rewarded for that now. So yeah, nothing to do with me. I can't take any credit, unfortunately. That's all.
Can you talk us a little bit about the changes? Because obviously, especially with support as well, you've actually got 3 players who overlap a lot in terms of hero pool and skill. Both Zox and Gala have sort of played that a flex support hero pool, but can also play Lucio. So how did you go about sort of figuring out what because there's so many combinations really available in that situation?
Yeah, and maybe that's worth talking about, like support heroes in general at the moment. Maybe with like the whole hero ban thing, maybe there's something there. But just in terms of like the roster side of things, I mean, we just did tryouts. Initially, I thought like Margib would start because Zox and Gala both played like main support in theory, but these guys have played so long. It turns out that doesn't really matter as much, and what matters is like the right balance in the team of threat mindset and like performance. And so really, it was just about we sort of tried out Margib plus Zox and then Margib plus Gala, and then from those results, like it was just immediately clear that we had to have Gala in the roster. Like it was just obvious from the scrim results. Like it's immediately apparent that he really had a brain for the game, and I think he was even playing main support at that time. We still made that decision. I mean, and then I started thinking, well, okay, hold on, like we need to really compare Margib and Zox now, right? Like we need to look at that more closely because if we follow the logic I initially went with, it meant that Zox would be benched for Gala. And I thought, that seems kind of bullshit. Like, Zox is really good, so why would I do that? So we started comparing those two, which wasn't really planned. And that's kind of what we got to. It was just about looking at, like, the results in the scrims, honestly, and, like, how they talk. And I didn't worry too much about the meta, really, because I think, like, coming into it, every team just played, and this was like a month ago, every single team in Europe played the same comp. They all played off-tank, sim, Lucio, hit scan, and that was it. And so one of the things I did when I first joined was say, we're not doing that. Like, we're never going to play that. We're not going to try and win on that. That's something that TM have won on forever. I messaged like Churong and I asked him, and he's like, look, we said that if we ever play Lucio, we're throwing, because they're playing them in the tournament, obviously at that time. And so it just gave me a lot of confidence. I think that was like the direction. So in terms of like what I was looking for in the support players, I actually had no idea, really. I didn't even know half the heroes did at that time, right? Like Mizuki and there's so many new
just coming back, yeah,
like obviously now I understand that Juno and Lucio are kind of like the same thing, like they're a bit different and they have like different strengths and weaknesses, but they're like in the same slot, like I have that vision, but you don't really have that when you come back. And for example, in Saudi E-League, we won the tournament, and one of the maps we won was like, I think Atlas, which I've never heard of. I didn't know that was a map until I saw it on the screen for a team I'm coaching in a grand final. And then a hit scan player picks Vendetta, and just imagine someone who hasn't seen Overwatch in 2 years, and you're on Atlas, and a hit scan player picks Vendetta and starts killing the whole enemy team, and he's like, what is that? Is that, should we play more of that? And that's kind of like we're playing a lot of Ven now. Like I think we're known as like sort of rush Ven team. That's one of the reasons. Like it's just that simple. I watched like Aid play it, so it's Aid, not Taejong. Taejong's playing it now, but I watched Aid play it and thought that's a good character. I don't know how that works, but I want more of that.
More of that, yeah.
And it turns out Taejong's even better at it. So yeah, just keep walking into wins, I guess. But it's been interesting to try and pick up the game again with all the changes and the perks and the hero vans and the map picks and the tournament format. It's all a bit crazy, but I think that's part of the fun too. Right? I think Overwatch maybe in 2024 was a bit boring, where I felt like I knew more than the players, and I always would. Almost like I felt like there's no way coaching like a European team that I would ever find players that knew more than me about that game at that time, just based on the experience I had and all that stuff. And so coming back in and being a bit behind has actually been really fun. Because sometimes I get to ask stupid questions. I think even like a week ago I asked a question like, does Juno ult do damage to the enemy team, or like how how does it work? I'm like asking questions like this, and I'm shameless. Of course, I just ask. It's okay if they think I'm stupid, no problem. But yeah, it's been fun for that reason, I think.
So while you were away, you were basically out of touch with the game. You didn't keep up with the esport really, or any of the patches for heroes, anything like that. You just sort of came in fresh face.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of watched Overwatch like the average person watches football or something. Like I'd watch like the big matches. Maybe people I knew were playing in like a big grand final or something. Like I think Alcade versus TM. Stuff like that. Yell at the screen when someone dies, not having any idea if they made a mistake or not. Like, how could you die, kind of thing. Just the worst kind of fan. So, didn't really watch it all. Kept playing games, still playing games, but yeah, just not Overwatch so much. Yeah.
And what do you make then coming back? Because obviously, especially even just hero wise, you come back and now people have giant swords. There's a cat that can fly. They've just introduced a motorbike like 2 months after you come back, or like 2 weeks after you come back. How do you feel
isn't
that
that surprising?
Like game direction?
Really, I think if you look at our team, we're a team that has picked up the cat earlier than most teams. We picked up Shion day one and have played it since. We're playing Ven. Like, we were one of the first teams to start really playing Mizuki Sig in Europe, I think. So despite the fact that I'm a clueless moron, we do tend to have. We do lead the way a bit in comps in Europe, I think. So that's been good. I'm like really proud of the team for that. Because like I remember when I first started talking to them, they were like, we have to play Kyrieleisha. We have to. I'm like, it doesn't matter if we have to. We're gonna lose, so let's not do that. And I've been credit to like TM recently playing Sig Cat Bastion type stuff, so Sim Cat Bastion type stuff. They've come to some of the same sort of conclusions where you just got to do what it takes to win, right? And be honest about your weakness. And I think our team's done a really good job of that. So yeah, really, really happy with it so far.
I don't know if this is true, but it's felt from the outside watching at least that quite often the comps we would see you guys play, you'd be the only team in EMEA playing it, but we would see some of the Korean teams, like I think maybe T1 or something, playing something like some similar comps. Like I think T1 used a lot of Vendetta as well. Are you watching that region and taking influence, or is it just sort of two teams coming to the same conclusion?
Not what you'd expect, I think, which is, from the outside, it kind of looks like we copy Korea. What actually happens is we're already playing the Korean comp before we see the Korean broadcast. And we get validated by what they're doing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's this weird thing where like I'll say something and it'll sound real stupid, and we do some scrims and it's good or bad. I mean, we lose like 80 to 90% of scrims, right? Like, so it's hard to evaluate scrims for us. I mean, we lose to Peps, like I try and flame them in match chat for being French, but it doesn't help. So yeah, Pep's really good team, obviously, surprisingly, but so like in terms of scrim results, we just don't really get a good signal. And I just literally force them sometimes to play dog shit. And we get flamed in match shot by the enemy team. I think even like before our first GK match, we got flamed by Ziad for playing like Sigma Mizuki. Like, we're playing Sigma Mizuki into Diva comps and getting destroyed, and this fucking idiot goes into match chat. He's like, your comp's not good. And then we get to the match, and he's playing Sigma, and we're playing Diva, and we 3-0 them. It's like some kind of Inception shit right there. I mean, yeah. I was really surprised by Ziad's improvement, though, to be fair. He's come a long way since like a month ago. So good for him, I guess. But in terms of what your question was, it's just, for some reason we keep getting the Korean comps before they play them, and then like that's the moment, like, we don't really believe in it until we see them play it, and we're like, oh shit, now it's good. And it's like, oh dude, like, gotta believe in yourself more, I think. But
the idea can't work on its own validity.
I do talk to I talk to some of the Mayhem guys, obviously. Like, a lot of them play in Korea, so occasionally we do get some like insight from that. But yeah, even then, a lot of the time they message me after we've already picked the comp, and they're like, "Everyone's playing this." I'm like, "Oh, so we're playing. Fuck yeah, all right." Like, so that helps. But yeah, been good. I think comp wise, at least happy with that.
Yeah, I think even when I remember speaking to Ice after your 3-2 in the regular season, and a big part of it was like, oh yeah, we just hadn't played against this type of thing or seen this type of thing, and just couldn't find the answer in time. And obviously that works a lot in Overwatch if you can just be that one step ahead or give them something.
Yeah, now we're playing them again, so well, yeah. Hopefully a similar result plus one map maybe.
Yeah. How about the esport itself? Because obviously the partnership teams have come in as well. So there's something where we get some more like sort of business side of things in terms of that scaling. And also hero bans, there's been a lot of format changes and stuff as well. So how have you felt sort of coming back into experiencing both of them?
I don't know how much the partnership team stuff matters. I don't know that like partnership teams are paying more to their players. Yeah, I think maybe in NA that made more of a difference where there probably wasn't a lot of interest from orgs. But in the EMEA, I mean, the Saudi orgs, they're very into Overwatch, right? There's no commitment issue from them, especially for the ones that like actually pay their players, like the top 3 or 4, right? So I think it didn't really affect me as much, and I can't really coach in NA anyway because of the time zones, really. It would be like 5 a.m. in the morning or something, or during work hours or something. It doesn't make any sense. But so that really hasn't affected me as much. I think the format's like more of an interesting point. I think the format is directionally really good, which is that I think Blizzard finally realized, even though many of us knew this for 6 years in Overwatch League, we knew already, like you need to artificially make the matches closer. And so when you think about what Overwatch started, where it was like, no roster locks on imports, basically all the maps are predetermined, no hero bans, like let's let the best players play kind of thing. If we play goats for a whole season, that's a good thing. Somehow, you get this like fucking Stockholm syndrome, right? And like I think they've finally realized, like the people who do the format, I don't know who that is, but that they need to artificially make the games closer, which is why you get like loser picks the map and the ban order. So like you have this like flip flop map 5 banger thing, and you get way more map 5s as a result, right? Like a lot of the series are way closer than you expect because the loser keeps picking maps until they win, right? And then you have all these other systems as well, like obviously map picks and stuff like that to sort of let teams accentuate themselves a bit more in terms of what they're playing. There's like ban protects as well, so you can be like a one-trick team, like 1, 2, 3, 4, as long as you protect tank every time. There's also things like I think the head-to-head rules, right? Like people complained a lot about that. That's just the same thing, though, isn't it? It's like making the matches more impactful and making them feel like it's all viewership experience-oriented decision making, where it's like if you do map score a lot of the time, the matches matter a lot less, if that makes sense. Like, because the actual outcome of the match, the win-loss, is like diluted by the map pool. The map, like plus minus essentially. So I think that's been like the thematic aspect of it, is just to try and get the matches to be really close and have them be really exciting and like have everything be more consequential. And that's come at a cost of, I think, the player experience, like the pro player experience. I mean, who cares about those minimum wage idiots? But in all seriousness, I wish they could probably find like a better balance. And so what I mean by that is like, I think you want the outcomes they're going for, but I also think you want to, it's not it's not all additive when you do this. You're not just gaining closeness and gaining your map diversity and gaining excitement. You're losing something as well, and it's like important to try and balance that a little bit and try and find opportunities to get like a better balance. And so what I mean by that specifically is like, for example, let me like give you a hypothetical. It's not even a hypothetical, it's real life. We're playing VP in 2 days, and we don't know what Koth we're playing because they pick it 5 minutes before the match, right? Like and so and they pick the ban, which is like another thing. So they pick the ban order. They're the highest seed. I think the highest seed having an advantage is fair. I think that's totally reasonable. But because they picked the map 5 minutes before, we have to prepare all the Koths, and you get this sort of like effect of like, it massively increases the pressure on the teams because you have to do all this shit 5 minutes before the match, and then you get 60 seconds to ban, which is an incredibly consequential decision.
Yeah,
it's like more intense than the fucking match, and it's not even being streamed. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Like there's no reason for it to be that way. On top of that, with the map pick system, it's like, if we talk about outcomes, have they really increased map diversity with this shit? I mean, no, they haven't, right? Like, there's actually less map diversity because teams can't be fucked. Like, if you talk about Europe, I'll tell you now, man, if we're playing TM, I think we're playing Nepal, Kings Row, Circuit, and that's going to happen every fucking time. Like, because
Yeah.
that's what everyone in Europe plays. That's what GK play. That's what we play. It's mostly what VP play, right? So you can get the same fucking maps every time. And the only time you're not going to get the same maps is when someone wants to like try and, play some like offbeat map, or like they don't feel like they can win the default map. But, there's like a sort of tall poppy issue there where like if you're a coach or a player or whatever and you try and push your team into playing a different map than they normally would, and you lose, it's incredibly risky to your career and your image in a sense. Like there's a huge disincentive to try and like, because then you're responsible for the loss, even if the loss would have happened anyway, right? And so I think in terms of just like it's a lot there obviously, but I think in terms of just teams and the way the format works for like the team experience, I think they could look at that a bit more closely. I don't know that the team who picks the map should also pick the ban order. I think that's probably insane, right? Like, I think that's creating a bit too much, power in one direction. And like, you want map 5 bangers, but you don't really want the maps to be 100-0, 0, 100, 100-0, right? And then also in terms of just like map picks, I wish, just spitballing, like I haven't thought it through. So maybe there's like reasons for this. And like, I think scheduling is something that's like incredibly complicated and I don't want to talk about because I don't know their incentives about like rolling schedules and all that shit. But in terms of map picks, I miss Overwatch League actually, because I think this is one thing the Overwatch League accidentally got right, which is like the maps are preset before the season even starts. And you know who you're playing on which maps ahead of time. Obviously, they can create unfair situations, but in the same vein of like making the matches artificially close. So that's a way to do that anyway, right? So I think reducing the pressure on teams would be something I would appreciate, because I think it's quite difficult at the moment. Yeah, I think teams have to deal with a lot of like administrative bullshit that makes it quite stressful. And a lot of this stuff doesn't exactly increase the quality of gameplay either, right? Like, what kind of gameplay do you think you're getting when you do bans and map picks 5 minutes before the fucking series? Like, yeah, it's going to be fucked. Like, every game is going to be a fucking dogfight, which can be interesting. But I think at the same time, you want like strategic depth, you want like exciting plays, you want like really creative stuff. How much creative stuff do you really see in OWCS at this point, right? Like you see creative comps, but you don't see specific plays anymore, I think. You think about a team like London in like 2023, right? Like the amount of TP, I mean, and you're on that fucking team, so I think you probably know, but the amount of like creative TP plays you had, you probably spent tens, if not hundreds of hours reviewing TPs on individual maps, and like different like sort of Ryan angles and like May walls and how to use the mail in a certain spot and against this comp, kite here, kite there. You had like a huge amount of depth, and like that can be a bad thing because in the end, people watched you play Ryan for a whole season, and maybe that gets boring. It didn't, because obviously everyone else was playing. Relatively speaking, it was quite diverse, but just in terms of strategy, I think that's been lost as well in the current system. So I just think thinking about more carefully the incentives behind the format more deeply, I think might help get like a better quality product, I guess, as well as still having like map 5 bangers all the time, which is a good thing. And here, hero diversity is definitely a good thing as well. It's been good for that. So also probably the other thing I'd mention, I guess now that comes to mind, I think the way bans work right now with the fact that you can, so they have like protect bans in this game, which means a lot of the time, so 1, 2, 3, 4 is a good example of this. They'll ban a random tank so that you can't ban Wrecking Ball. So that they pick a map and then they protect Wrecking Ball essentially by banning Reinhardt or something they won't play, right? I think most of the time protect bans have become pretty awful, because a lot of the time really like it's just DPS protecting all the time to prevent banning like a Bastion or something or a Sim. It's like it ends up, because the DPS role is the only one that really matters. I think the goal is to like spread the bans across the roles, but the problem is the support bans don't fucking matter. Most of the supports are kind of the same. Yeah, you can play Lucio or Juno, you can play Mizu or Kiri, or it doesn't change that much. Like it's not the end of the world. You can play Morga Rush with a Mizu if you want. It's not going to be different. I mean, obviously Kiri's better, but in terms of like a team that's going to win anyway, that's not going to be the difference maker kind of thing. Whereas like these DPS bans are incredibly consequential. And so teams protecting that is a bit of an issue, I think. I think I'd like to see the removal of protect bans, honestly. I think you should be able to ban like, there's enough heroes in the game now that you should be able to ban 2 overall. And so yeah, I'd like to see that changed as well. So that's my wish list for the format. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, but
there was on them. They did something for some of the World Cup online qualifiers where there wasn't, someone maybe technically had seed advantage, but it didn't really feel like, because obviously the previous tournament's so long ago, it doesn't really feel quite the same. They did it where the top seed got to pick either they get to choose the map or they get to choose who bans first and second. And that felt like a more sort of like middle ground of like you can have one advantage or you have the other, or and again the higher seed still gets the autonomy there in terms of which one they pick.
But also find a way to make that happen not 5 minutes before the game. Like we also a fucking hero ban quick time event every time you play a match. It's a joke. I'm sick of it.
Well, you see it as well. I think there was one, I can't remember what series it was, but there was one where like I think TM did an unexpected ban against Falcons. And basically what happened is Sparkle wasn't expecting this ban situation. He was doing the bans for Falcons because he was the one on stage and just choked it and banned Mercy. Like just didn't know what the answer was and kind of choked it and banned Mercy. Which is
I respect, like, to be fair, I respect that.
It's kind of it's interesting, right? But that's like an interesting thing to be like, oh, like the coach has made an error here or something. But you only find out about that through a story afterwards. You don't actually get to witness. You just sort of left there to sort of puzzle out like, oh, why'd they ban Mercy? And it's a decision that doesn't quite make any sense. So you lose a bit of what in theory could be the peril of that high pressure situation as well.
I think, like that's just the Mercy ban is just a non-ban, right? Which is, I mean, I think in isolation, it's better to admit that you don't know than ban something random on some level, especially if you're like the better team, which they probably thought they were or whatever. So I kind of get that, to be honest. Mercy's the classic non-ban, to be honest. Everyone thinks of that hero first because nobody wants to play it. Like if there's a hero you're sure you're not going to play, it's that one. So I mean, even Farah isn't played with Mercy anymore, right? You can't have a 5v5 game with a character that's fucking not doing anything. Like at the pro level, this doesn't work. She can't make choices. She can't influence the game. So that's why she's probably the right ban in that situation. But yeah, obviously there was opportunity there for a better ban, but he didn't have time, right? Like it doesn't matter how smart you are. You can't puzzle out like fucking 50 heroes and
too many variables, maps. What are they going to play? What have they been playing?
How is this ban going to affect you in the future when you cannot ban that hero again? And it's fucked. So
I think it always feels difficult as well when you to try and look at, I don't know if when you look at bans for like the entire series, like it's really hard to conceptualize, I think, exactly when a ban should be used or where. And I feel like a lot of teams generally just tend towards a bit more, here's a good ban situation for us. We'll use this on a map that's good, and they just have
I think in Europe it's become more like consolidated than that. I think when we play like a team like TM or GK, everyone knows the bans way ahead of time because it's like formulaic. Like we know what they want to play and they know what we want to play and they know what we want to ban in each map. So they ban the thing that we're going to play when the roles overlap so that we can't ban, what I mean? Like it's all, it's almost become very formulaic at the moment. Maybe that's not always the case, probably depends on the meta and stuff. But I have to say though, one thing I'm really happy about, because obviously we play VP, which I think is a good matchup for us. But I think looking at a team like TM, because we have to play TM or GK later on. I think the other thing that is just complete competitive garbage, but I'm very happy for because it benefits me, right? Is that Blizzard have changed the map pool for the. I don't know if this is like public. Yeah, no, it must be because
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, we've watched Japan play the new map on stream on OWCS. So, but yeah, it's interesting because the new map pool is incredibly good for us. So, 3 days before the most important event of the year for every team, qualifying for EWC. And to be fair, most teams only care about qualifying for EWC. They're not even that interested in how you do it at EWC, right? So, like, undoubtedly, this is like in 3 days, it's the most important, or 2 days from this broadcast, but it's the most important event of the year for every team in Europe, right?
Yeah.
And they've just YOLO'd the maps, right? And it's happened in every region, not just Europe, but talking from my experience. And it's just super favorable for us. We love the new map pool, obviously, right? It's great. It's a bunch of really good rush maps. Fuck yeah, all right. Like, yeah, that's also a factor as well, I think. Just, I don't know. I can't get that one.
Right? Because for people who don't know, it's 5 changes of maps, including the addition of, I can sort of see because they added New Junction, which is a brand new map. I can sort of see why they'd want to add a new map for playoffs, or I can see why that makes sense from like a use the esport to advertise the game type model. But they changed 5 maps in total, including that one, which means you would have found you had like sort of Monday until Friday, with the game being on Friday, to figure out 5 new maps.
Yeah, and like I think it's just specifically the changes they made. They removed like Renasapi, they removed like Siravasa, they removed Oasis. These are all like in our case, from our view, like Twisted Minds, Cat Bastion sim maps. right? Like they've just deleted all the maps they're good at, and it's like it's kind of fucked, you know. Like I'm happy, obviously, but yeah, it's brutal. Like it is, it's fucking brutal. I don't know. It's so surprising.
Well, you know,
that
it could quite easily be the other way, right? Like they could have taken out a couple of rush maps, and suddenly you've got to stare down the barrel of like a billion Cat Bastion maps as you try and figure out how to get through the weekend.
Yeah. And again, most important event of the year, and it's just fucking all of a sudden. Here you go. Good luck. It's like, okay, thanks. Like, I don't know. It does seem a bit rushed at times, but I guess this is like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about scheduling because I think the constraints on scheduling are much more complicated than just like how good the matches are. Like I'm qualified to speak on how good matches are, but I'm not qualified to speak on viewership metrics or when people from which time zone watch and which part of the year and on which day in the week, you know what I mean? So I assume there's more to it than just like, we have to fucking change the map pool 3 days before, and we have to have 3 days of practice before playoffs. Yeah, I assume that was well designed for a reason, I guess. But yeah,
I want to ask a little bit about stage 2 as well, because it was probably on that note. It was in many ways, I think, the most competitive stage of EMEA we've had. I think there were as many map 5 games as there were 3-0 games, which seems like a crazy metric, really, when you look historically through Overwatch. But you found yourself kind of on the wrong side of a lot of those. You did still finish 3rd overall, but all three of those losses were map 5s, which in many ways you can paint it as a good thing. You were 3 maps away from a 5-0 stage, or you could take it more cynical route and go, well, these guys can't win map 5 in any situation. So how do you feel about the stage now, sort of looking back on it?
Yeah, I guess in terms of feeling, my feelings are more based on like how well the team's doing. Yeah, on average. I mean, to be clear, we're losing 89% of scrims for weeks. I mean, like, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, literally 80 to 90%. I mean, I remember we beat VP once in a scrim and we beat TM maybe twice. We got 6-0'd by GK. Like, we got 6-0'd by Peps, you know, in scrims, right? So, yeah, in terms of scrim results, you know, fucking these matches are a light in the dark as far as I'm concerned, right? They might look like crushing defeats in the end, like or like something that just slipped away or whatever. But for us, they're actually like really validating. So I guess we don't see it that way. But also at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a little bit incidental. I think, you know, map 5 is probably where the bans run out a lot of the time. So probably in those series, I don't know that map 5 was the one we should have won against like TM, for example. We probably should have won one of the first 2 where we had like, you know, a pretty good opportunity, I think, in terms of the map and the comps and stuff. So yeah, I guess I don't think about the map 5 thing specifically as much. The 1, 2, 3, 4 one was pretty unfortunate, especially given the up and down context of it. Like we got 6-0 by GK in scrimmage. We come into the match, we stomp GK, right? And then it's like, okay, what the fuck? Like, all right, great, my life's good. Next day we get smashed by Wrecking Ball. Some guy with the stupidest username I've ever heard of, Golden Pants. Like, fuck it. Real low moment for me, I think. And then losing to fucking Kai. Like, Kai's my age, you know? Like, I should be playing at this point if that's what we're doing. Like, but yeah. So that didn't help. Then you go back into VP and you almost beat VP, like the only team to do it in the whole stage. We should have beat VP. We threw I think we threw New Junk City at the end. We should have won that one, but yeah, and then just up and down all the time, I guess. But overall, very happy with the team. I think not too worried about like map 5 or something, I guess. But looking good in scrims now, which from like the transitive property, I think if we're losing scrims all the time and we're doing well in matches and then suddenly we're winning scrims, I hope that means that we'll do even better in matches.
There's some kind of correlation here, so yeah. But
yeah. I'm playing some NA teams, obviously. I'm playing like TM GK every day because that's the only option, right? I mean, that's their choices other than like Peps or something. But yeah, good results so far. Yeah, I don't know. NA, real shit. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think Chris was talking the other day about a sort of humbling experience where they got like 6-0'd by GK or something, and they were like, we've top of NA, but
NA right now is fucking awful. Like just horrific. Like, I don't know how to explain it. We played them, I couldn't even believe it. I don't know. Good players. Like, individually, the players are quite good in some of these teams, but the level of team play is just fucking non-existent. I don't know what it is. They just kind of walk around as 5 and shoot main. It's very odd. Not a lot of like high level thinking, and I think maybe just NA. I think they're one of the regions that suffered the most from like the loss of the Overwatch League in terms of the talent. Literally got deported. Like all of the talent was Korean. And then on top of that, they have the worst financial incentives, right? So like they have like no upside essentially. Like they have the weakest competitive population and no money. And so I think a lot of even partner teams are getting like $500 a month or $1,000 a month or something to play this game. And understandably, that's not going to work when you have someone like Funny Astra on a fucking 2 or 3 year contract getting God knows how much money. Like he probably gets more money than the entirety of NA teams. So understandably, there's like an incentive difference there, I think, in terms of the effort level. So yeah, understandable, I think.
It always gives them more things to balance as well. Like most of these players are on collegiate programs or some will work a job as well on top of this. So there's always, as soon as you introduce something like that, you're always going to get a worse sort of end result.
I can relate to the part-time job angle. Obviously that's what I'm doing, so I get it.
Yeah. Overall, then, because obviously VP, tough opponent, probably the one nobody really wanted. Were you surprised they picked you? Because in their regular season, they 3-0'd GK, and then it was your game that was the really close one against them.
Am I surprised they picked us? I think they would have known about the map pool when they picked us, right?
Yeah, they only had to make a decision on Monday, so they would have been aware of the maps.
Then yeah, I think it was a mistake. I think it's a mistake. Because I think if you look at that match, it was the same as the TM1, where like probably we're going to win the maps that are still in the pool. So I think they probably just fucked up. I don't know. I'm sure it was a hard decision for them. I don't know like what the reason was. I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, they only had 2 choices, so it's a 50-50. I mean, it's not like they won the lottery or something. A lot of the time, it's going to be one of the 2 options, right? I don't know. I would have gone with GK, to be honest, but don't mind either way. I mean, on the upside, it means not having to prepare for teams bullshit as early, right? Like I think that's at least VP is like a playing what we want to play kind of matchup rather than like adapting. Yeah, I don't know. And we still get the if like we go and play if we lose and we play GK later on and we win and GK beats TM, which seems entirely possible from what I've seen. Then we have the upper seed against GK, I think. So yeah, I mean, a few ways to get to the finish line here, I suppose. But yeah, a little bit surprised, but kind of okay with it in hindsight.
Okay. And obviously, like you said, this is the big one, right? There's 3 spots for EMEA, 4 teams going into playoffs. So all you need to do is win 1 game, which is the good news. The bad news is
it's easy, yeah.
Everyone's in the same boat, and this is probably about as strong a 4-team group as you're probably ever going to really get. So how do you feel the chances are? Because obviously a lot of people may be expecting to see you guys have to hit GK in that lower bracket, because that lower bracket, or the first lower bracket game, is actually going to be in many ways the most important game of the entire tournament.
Yeah, I think honestly, I wouldn't expect that. I wouldn't expect like that sort of progression. I think from what I understand, like GK is stomping VP and scrims. Like VP are an interesting team. Like they have an incredible level of talent, but they're also a team that seems like they kind of peak early a little bit. Like they kind of play like they made a comp really early, and they have like a lot of talent. Kev's fucking crazy at Xion, to be honest. Like we've learned a lot from watching him play. But I don't know that they're also working the hardest. You know what I mean? I think their players, you look at their kind of their roster, like Fixerland and like Psycho, they're players who have already achieved a lot and played for a long time, and they've all seen the better days. They've all seen kind of the old country where they got good salaries and had practice facilities and flew around the world. And I don't know that the level of motivation is as high as maybe someone like GK, for example, or us. I think there's like a motivation gap there. I think over time, it sort of feels like teams like us and GK just keep improving. A player like Ziad has, again, I mentioned him earlier. I sort of flamed the fuck out of him for that comment in match chat about our comps, but watching him play, he's become quite good at Sigma and Morga. And you look at someone like TVNT, who had, I think, comparatively more success, and like TVNT sucks. Like this guy still only plays D.Va basically, and like kind of sucks everything else. And so I think motivation's like a huge factor, right? Like I think there are players who want it, and there are players who think they've already kind of achieved it. And I hope we can like use that, that alpha there to kind of grow and beat VP, because it seems like that's where we're headed. I'm like really optimistic about that. So I don't know that like the group's going to be super one-sided. I think all of these matches are going to be dogfights. I think they're all going to be like really close. And again, I think the map pool benefits us. It also benefits GK a lot as well for the same reason, I think, because they're also like a rush team, right? They play like us. They're very similar to us. Yeah, you want to talk about mercy bans. if we play GK, there's going to be mercy bans.
Every handshakes all around on my bands.
Yeah, we're good. We understand what we're doing. Yeah, we're here to rush. Like,
no, great. Thank you very much, Gunba. I appreciate all of your time and welcome once again back. Best of luck this weekend. I'm sure everyone will be watching. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.